Greetings, YouTube. Today we're going to take a look at the Natural History of the Senses by Diane Ackerman. I'm going to check and see which order she does those in. I don't remember. Table of contents for me. Here we go. She starts with smell, then she goes to touch, taste, hearing, and vision. Then she has a brief chapter on synesthesia, which is where some people, which is kind of rare, it's like 1 out of every 500,000 people have this particular condition, where your senses perceive the world in a different manner. For example, you might hear color, or if you say a particular word, you could have a taste in your mouth. The word itself has a taste to you, which could mean that some words are literally distasteful for people who have the condition of synesthesia. I can't say it's a suffering condition. It's just a different way of perceiving the world. And I was attracted to this because the idea of a natural history of the senses was kind of cool. I'm thinking, okay, we got a chance to talk about human perceptions of senses. We got a chance to talk about the evolution of senses, things like that. And she does, in fact, cover all of these topics. And I will say right out of the gate that the author's writing style is beautiful. I mean, her opening salvo into smell, it was near poetry. It was just beautiful. I really appreciate this woman's writing style. She does an excellent job. Not all the book is quite as lovely. There are stretches that are just very kind of ordinary nonfiction, but there are passages in here that are truly beautiful. I didn't know when I bought it, though, that it was printed in 1992, so it's 30 years old, okay? And I know that some of the research in this is outdated. And I know this myself because I've read some on these topics, and so this may not be the best book for someone who's entering this topic in this year, 2022, at least for me, it's 2022 when I film this. You may want to find something that's a little more contemporary. But if you have an understanding of human senses and evolution of them to a certain degree, you can still get a lot of enjoyment out of this, as I did. Unfortunately, being 30 years old, it reads like a book that's 30 years old. And the author is completely unaware that she is problematic a lot. She frequently uses the word Oriental to refer to people. The only thing Oriental in the universe are rugs. People are Asian. And more specifically, you say where they are from in Asia. There's lots of countries in Asia. It's not a country. It's a continent. She makes frequent references to Helen Keller, even though Helen Keller is a very problematic individual because lots of people look up to Helen Keller all about overcoming diversity kind of thing. But she was actually very problematic on her views on race and such. Yeah, I know it's weird, but it's true. Go look it up. She was not a progressive egalitarian gal. So I try not to talk about the woman if I can avoid it. But for one of the things that she did, the author, Ms. Ackerman, did here that was the worst, though. In the chapter dealing with touch, and this is going to be a slightly disturbing topic, and it is going to be, it's definitely not PG, so if you don't want to listen to it any further, because it does involve negative aspects of pain and things like that, don't watch any further in this video. So I hope that you have been forewarned, and I'm far enough into it, hopefully the algorithms won't nail me. But she discusses genital mutilation. Now she refers to it as circumcision. It's mutilation, folks. Whether it's done to a woman or to a man, it's mutilation. It's being done to children. You are mutilating children's genitals. Now she doesn't dwell on it for the purposes of discussing that particular atrocity gratuitously. No, but she uses it as an example of stoic pain tolerance. So she looks on the ability for these children to stoically tolerate that pain as somehow a laudable human characteristic. So these kids who stoically tolerate being tortured and mutilated is viewed by this author as positive. Now again, I don't think she understands what she was saying. I have not looked up the author. what she looks like, but I would not be shocked if she is a very white woman, because this book just screams to me of someone so steeped in their privilege and so completely unaware of all the problematic things they say. They're utterly unaware of them. So taking all of that together in one big ball, while her writing is beautiful, I think that this is not a book for the early part of the 21st century. It's not a book that's going to give you an unproblematic view of the world. And I think the author comes off as being more than a little tasteless in moments and insensitive to the world at large. I understand this was 30 years ago, but even 30 years ago, I knew genital mutilation was genital mutilation. Even 30 years ago, I knew that Oriental was not a term you applied to people. And 30 years ago, I was younger than her at the time of this writing. I believe that she is considerably older than I am. So she should have been aware of that. Never ever think that you can use the excuse of, well, it's a product of the time. No, no, no. Christopher Columbus's contemporaries knew he was committing atrocities. So the people in his era knew he was committing atrocities. So when we look back on that era and the atrocities he's committed, it's not our looking at his actions through the lens of modernity. It's just reflecting on reality. And this author seems to be completely unaware of what she's saying and what she's doing, which is sad because, again, beautiful writing. So take it for what it's worth. This may be a book you want to check out. Maybe it's one you want to skip. Maybe you want to find a more contemporary, up-to-date book on human senses. I'm sure they're out there. I'm not necessarily going to go look for them at the moment. I've got a huge queue piling up behind me. But yeah. So mixed bag here, folks. The Natural History of the Senses by Diane Ackerman. Take it for what it is, I guess.